Good evening and welcome to the Pulse. It's Tuesday and we are live from the residence of retired Supreme Court Judge, His Lordship William Atuguba. And of course, exactly a week and a day ago, remember, the entire nation woke up to the news of the removal of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Her Ladyship Gertrude Torkornoo. And this, the president did so based on the recommendation of a 5-member committee that was set up in consonance with Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. That decision or that action taken by the president has been described as unprecedented by a section of the populace, some suggesting that it sets a bad precedent for the governance of this country going forward. Now, somebody who, was on the Supreme Court and are retired has an insight into some of these things. And we are privileged to say that we are joined on the Pulse by His Lordship Justice William Atuguba, at one point served as acting Chief Justice of the Republic. Your Lordship, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And it's always good to see you.
Yes.
And you're looking good.
Well, the grace.
Tell me the secrets.
Oh, well, it's grace. That's all. And I eat lean food.
Lean food.
Yeah. Local food.
And I see you don't drink cold water.
No, it's not really advisable.
Okay.
If you go on social media, you see medical tidbits.
Okay.
Some of these things are there. They'll tell you it's not good.
And some say that you also do a lot of walking.
Oh, thank you. I'll query myself. I think I've stopped that reasonably for a long time.
Okay.
I'll resume.
Great. So we are here this afternoon in your residence. I mean, this is my 4th time in this house. And this matter of national importance. Last week, Monday, the president, acting on recommendation of this 5-member committee, caused the removal of the Chief Justice because, a case has been established against her. First, how did you receive the news?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say I rejoiced, but I thought it was a step in the right direction. If you remember in some of my interviews with some of you before the elections, I was expressing the grave loss of confidence in the judiciary.
Loss of confidence?
Yes, public confidence, and even international confidence. I mean, you just look at the peer review reports, the ratings, social media views, calling the Supreme Court unanimous FC all over the place. I mean, this doesn't paint any good image of a judiciary. And from the happenings, you remember it got to a point when Ken Dapa had to come out. I think it's Minister for
National Security.
Yeah.
That they should find a way to balance their rulings.
Yeah. Something like that. And it got to that extent. People descended on him, so what he doesn't understand. I mean, but so I felt that the judiciary needed refinement, and I said it. And after the election, I repeated it. I think was it John?
Yes, we spoke.
And even some international forum interview. One US-based professor, he's a Ghanaian. He called me and I said this. I mean, look, the trouble in this country is the political element, which has permeated through the fabric of Ghanaian society to an extent that objectivity, public interests, sincerity and all these things pushed aside by some of the actors in favor of personal interests.
Personal interest.
Yes, an aggrandizement. So,
And not the law. Personal interest and not the law.
not the law, so long as it is subverted to advance some people's interests, that is fine.
And this loss of confidence that you have in the judiciary, is it recent or since infancy?
Oh, well, that's not quite an easy question, because the judiciary has not, from our assessment, been entirely sacrosanct, you know, even from the beginning. We see that some decisions were very unsatisfactory. Ria Koto, for example.
Right.
Although at the time, I mean, looking at British common law, the judges could not have decided otherwise. But then, academics were observing that situating it in the context of our constitution, its framework, they should have, you know, moved away from Liversidge and Anderson sort of. And even in England, that authoritarian power given to the executive was departed from times of peace. Liversidge and Anderson was a wartime decision, you know. But at our time, Ghana wasn't at war.
Right.
We had a constitution. So, but I don't blame the judges so much. You see, because it takes time to move from one mindset to another. You see, when something looks ingrained, deeply enunciated and implanted into a system, it takes time to modify it, to look at possible changes brought about by local legal enactments or constitution.
Right. Right. We'll come back.
Yeah.
Yes, please go on.
Yes. So, that was in Nkrumah's era. You know, the famous treason trial.
Right.
Adamafio and Co., when they were not convicted, Nkrumah abolished. I mean, he passed and nullifying the judgment and set up a special court and retried these people. And Supreme Court judges, some of them commented that the first panel was sound, but the second panel was malleable. You see, I mean, judges were making those comments.
Right.
I quoted some of these things in my judgments. And so you can see what caused malleability in the second panel. Must be some political element. So it was there. Buzia came. You remember well, you are too young. Apollo, was it 5, 6, 8 or something? When transitional provisions in the 69 Constitution gave him powers to dispense with persons appointed under the NLC, offices created by them. He dismissed somebody who was appointed in 1958, Deputy General Manager of GNTC, Salah. He took the case to court, and there were all kinds of maneuvers. But those judges were firm. Although sometimes they also went off board a bit. For example, they were trying to replace Apalu and Sowa from the bench In the case of Apalu, the allegation was that he was a close friend of the plaintiff Salah, which couldn't be proved. Somebody even gave evidence of their association, which proved to be entirely false. But in the case of Sowa, his brother-in-law was also dismissed. And he came to complain to him, you see. And I think he mentioned to the attorney general, but he was on the panel.
Okay.
I mean, he shouldn't have sat on that case.
Right.
But it didn't actually matter. Their judgment, to me, was the correct one.
Correct one. Okay.
But Buzia, you remember the famous broadcast, no court, no court, when they gave that judgment. And then the way they appointed the Supreme Court justices, that was the first time we had this type of Supreme Court. They hoisted junior judges over and above Azukrab and Co.
All right.
Yes, and brought somebody who was the equivalent of a circuit court judge
to the Supreme Court
to be Chief Justice over and above all these things. So you can see, if that's not politics, I don't know what it can be.
So it didn't start today?
It didn't start today, but the intensity of it, where it has gotten to, particularly under the last administration in this country, is unprecedented.
In terms of promotion or interference in the process?
Well, there's no smoke without fire.
Right.
But if the public can call a court unanimous FC, you know, what do you think in a case that goes there will go? I mean, either the judges are playing ball or they are being interfered with.
But you also remember that since the now dismissed Chief Justice was suspended, and then his lordship Justice Bafuboni was appointed. Every case that went before them, it's gone against even the sacked Chief Justice. And some will say that the scale has changed. Nothing really in terms of the format. It's almost the same. It's like a payback, if you like.
Oh, well, maybe. Maybe you have to read those judgments and then see whether they are sustainable. Objectively. And I can tell you that some of these people complaining about these things, if you look at the post-PNDC era, when Ghana reverted to constitutional rule, what did the then opposition say? Same MPP. They said, well, they wouldn't even take part in the parliamentary elections, but they would practice the opposition through the courts. And they went to court on a chain of constitutional cases and won all of them. We go through 93 to 94, bonus 1 and 2, Ghana law reforms. You see a lot of them there, consecutively. But after some time, then of course, it wasn't quite like that. So, and those decisions, even though consecutively in favor of the opposition at that time, to me, were legally sustainable. Legally sustainable. After some time, when they kept on pressing, some of them were not accepted and they ruled against. That is it. You know.
I just maybe we can spend some time to talk about.
So sometimes a certain trend is sustainable on the merits, but if it is not sustainable on the merits by honest, legal, competent people, then the system is not correct.
We'll come to deal whether with this new change that we are experiencing, it should lead to reforms in the judiciary and what your proposals will be. But first, let me start off with the recommendation of the committee.
Yeah.
According to the communication that went up,
Yes.
Getty Tokono's removal was mainly based on a petition dated March 17, presented by one Daniel Ofori on the grounds of misconduct and stated misbehavior. After the full inquiry, the committee submitted its report to the president on Monday and made several recommendations for it to be removed. In the opinion of the committee, the travel expenses which Justice Tokonu heaped on the judicial service when she traveled on holiday in September 2023, fled to Tanzania and with her husband and second to the United States of America with her daughter, together with the payment of per diem to the spouse and daughter of the Chief Justice, constituted unlawful expenditure of public funds. Some are suggesting that this particular charge, perhaps you should have been surcharged to refund the money. It is not enough to use this as yardstick to recommend her removal. What do you say to this?
Well, it's a possible view, but that doesn't necessarily make it wrong to remove her on that account. Because accountability, probity, and transparency are the cornerstones of our Constitution. And it's the judiciary that is to enforce these values. Yes. So if the judiciary itself is found wanting as to them, it's serious enough. People have been jailed for misapplication of funds, causing financial loss, these things, you know. So I don't see how similar conduct, when it affects lesser individuals or persons not as exalted as CJ and so forth, they can be subjected to serious, you know, consequences, even criminal sanctions.
But is it strong enough to cause the removal of the head of the judiciary just because she traveled with her husband and daughter? And I'm sure that if this was put before and said that you should refund the money, she would have willingly done so.
Well, the question is, why should that happen? And was the amount trivial? It wasn't trivial. And you might as well say, why should others who indulge in similar acts be criminally even prosecuted and jailed? And someone who should know far, far better is the head of the accountability system, transparency, should just be handled as if it's nothing.
And those who are in support of the committee recommendations are clearly falls in the category of abuse of power.
Yeah, sure.
You think that is so?
Sure, why not? Why not? I mean, the unjustified use of public funds, not to negligible extent. I mean, it's not. Now look at it. Assuming this state of affairs were not discovered, it would have continued. If this person is there for how many years? I think she has 8 years or more to her credit, and it could have increased. No, I just don't know. I don't like double standards. That's my cast of mind. What is good for the goose should be good for the gander. I know that at that apex level, okay, maybe sometimes some flexibility can be allowed.
Right, because some say that as Chief Justice, this shouldn't be beyond her reach. I mean, on holidays, you are a former Supreme Court. I'm sure you were entitled to some privileges.
I can tell you, at our time, Supreme Court judges were entitled to I think a maximum of, was it 300 cedis or something? Or was it even 150? And the Chief Justice at that time, Judge Wood, had a slightly higher, but it wasn't anything to write home.
300 cedis for what?
I mean, per diem.
If you should travel outside the country.
Yes.
And were you to travel
I think
with your...
it was even, I think that was the maximum also. It was about, is this 75 cedis a day or some small sum. And I remember that when Judge Wood became CJ, for a long time she complained that she was traveling and she was cash strapped. I mean, the conditions were. And Judicial Council looked into it and raised her per diem to $1,000.
Yeah. And 300 Ghana cedis or dollars?
Dollars.
To 1,000 Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Okay.
No, $1,000.
Okay.
$1,000. The rest of us also were looking forward. I think ours was 150 something. We're also thinking that they will adjust us. It didn't happen. So that was it. She couldn't probably have just said, well, I'm the Chief Justice, so when I'm traveling, anything can be given me from public funds, and I'm happy with it, and I go. She put the matter before the Judicial Council, and it was debated, and that amount was voted for her. So I didn't think that she felt she was free to be given any amount and she could just walk away with it or ask for any amount. You know?
There are also issues of transfer, which the committee describes as, illegal transfers. There's mention of one Badim, a staff of the Judicial Service. It says her conduct amounted to misbehavior. There's also recommendations to the Supreme Court of Ghana. Perhaps if you can educate us why you think that these are enough grounds.
Recommendations?
Yes.
To the Supreme Court?
Right.
Or for appointment? Okay, that bid, you know what? Bidding case. Yes, what was it about?
The committee says that without fear or favor, the Chief Justice unjustifiably breached the provision in Article 295 of the Constitution in the way and manner she transferred one Mr. Baden, a staff of the Judicial Service. The committee indicates that it was of the view that the conduct of Justice Tokonu falls squarely in the category of conduct described as stated misbehavior at Article 146 of the 1990 Constitution. The committee is also of the opinion that the action and conduct of Justice Tokonu fell within the meaning and categories of stated misbehavior. And then there's also allegation of request in letter to former President Nana Akufo-Addo during his tenure for the appointment of more justices to the Supreme Court bench and a recommendation and provision of certain names for consideration for that appointment. The committee said Justice Tokonu, however, cannot lay claim to ignorance of the nomination process and procedure, notwithstanding the fact that the process and procedure was not spelled out in the Constitution but case law.
Yes, the Baden case. What were the sections surrounding his transfer?
Yes, transfer according to the committee's report.
Yes, transfer from where to where?
From the Judicial Service to another place.
To another place. Well, I don't know the facts surrounding that transfer. If the transfer was not based on justifiable facts, there was abuse of power. Oh, certainly. Victimization. Oh, yes. If somebody is doing his work well, why do you move him out? At our time, there was the administrative officer of the Judicial Service, one Agwevo. He subsequently went to the bench as a circuit judge, then High Court judge. I don't know whether he reached Court of Appeal. I think he should have retired. He was transferred out of the judiciary by the president.
Right.
I think on the recommendation of the Chief Justice. But the president had no such power. It was the Chief Justice consultation with the Judicial Council also. I was a member of that. We reversed him. And, you know, actually lambasted his act.
But in this
I'm
case,
coming.
okay.
That one was just, there were no facts to show that he was being victimized, but even there, we did not spare. We read Kwega JS's strictures against the Jews in that case. Agueva was Attorney General. I think should be 2000 Supreme Court Ghana Law Report also. You can see it. But for me to comment on whether this transfer was justified, I have to know
the
facts.
circumstances.
Yes.
But again, is the Chief Justice completely barred from recommending people to be appointed to the Supreme Court?
No, yeah. Oh, okay, you finished the bail
Yes.
matter. Barred from recommending.
Yes.
No. In fact, I wrote a judgment on this appointment process. Lead judgment in Amegache and others, the Attorney General, where they said, oh, the president ought to have done the appointments strictly in accordance with the recommendations by the Judicial Council and in the order and merit therein stated, you know. And I, in the course of the judgment, had to consider the appointment process. And I said by convention, nominations to the Supreme Court or to the bench generally, but okay, let's do the Supreme Court, can come from Attorney General, from the Chief Justice, or the Bar Association. Yeah, so Chief Justice can nominate. Yes. Fellow judges, you know, in the regions who have seen the competence and honesty of certain lawyers can recommend them to the Chief Justice.
But so why is he being crucified for this?
Oh, it depends on the type. Okay, let me give an example. I've given that example several times.
Okay.
Geu.
Right.
The man from High Court, I don't think he was there for even 3 years. What judgments of his are there in the law reports? This was a man who was a parliamentary candidate for Ho in the 2020 elections.
On the ticket of the MPP.
Of the MPP. And he went to the High Court. I don't think he was there for 3 years. No judgment of his, I think, in the law reports. Straight to Supreme Court. I mean, even as a layman, do you think that that's a sound exercise of discretion? I mean, Supreme Court is the heartbeat of the judiciary. Its decisions are binding on all the courts, not everybody. I mean, when there were senior judges already on the High Court Court of Appeal, some very senior legal practitioners practice extensively. I mean, that's face facts. These things annoy me sometimes. Let's just look at the facts and apply honesty to their assessment. You get the result for yourself very easily. Very easily.
And then the reaction to this?
Now, okay. Apart from that, look at most of the elevations. I don't think most of them were the senior justices of the High Court or Court of Appeal. They were not. Some of them were very competent, and I don't mind. If somebody is very competent and is not a senior, you can go to Supreme Court. It's the competence that matters. Otherwise, seniority, because you are more experienced, and not just raw seniority with a delivery.
Right.
You know, and I don't think that if you apply these criteria to the elevations that were done under her stewardship, in particular. I mean, you can be satisfied.
So
You cannot.
So what could have been the motivation for some of these elevations, as you talk of? Is it political? And if that is so, then that's a very dangerous precedent we've set.
Oh, sure. Well, it's for everybody to guess. If there's no sound reason for doing something, whether it's political or otherwise, it's unsound. And the unsoundness in this context, you look at the spate of decisions that were always unanimously in favor of one side. I mean, you can't just see. There should be no difficulty about this.
Okay.
No.
Let me try and get some education here. So, the committee had 5 petitions to consider.
Yes.
And then the committee's recommendation is based on 1. And in the statement, the chairperson of the committee, His Lordship, gave a point, makes the point that they did not go into the other 2 petitions. The counsel for the dismissed Chief Justice, Mr. Ikweotu, makes the point that his team, they were asked to put together their written closing remarks. Even before they would put it together, the committee had met the president and made their recommendations to him. It's like he makes the point that perhaps everything had been predetermined.
Let's see. Have you, the journalist should be investigative, you know. I mean, have you contacted the Judicial Secretary to find out, or the chairman, whether this really happened? You know, that they just decided not to wait for their submission. I don't know whether that. Have you ascertained that fact?
Well, they've been type-lipped after they presented their report, so they've not been able to provide their version of the allegations against them.
Okay. Now, but because these things are confidential and so forth. But if this kind of castigation is made, I don't think it's out of the way to, assuming it's not true, to straighten this.
But why would the committee go into just 1 petition when they had 3 to consider? And then base their recommendation on just the 1 petition filed by Daniel Ofori.
Now, you said there were 3.
Right.
Like court cases, they can consolidate them and lead evidence simultaneously in respect of all of them, and then at the end give decisions on each of them, or they could take them one after the other. And I mean, which law says that they must, if there are more than 1 petitions, they must consider them necessarily at the same time? Which law? Do you know that law?
No.
Yeah. And, you know, so, and it depends on the nature of the petitions. Maybe one has more grounds, or one came earlier. So they'll start with it, and they conclude it. If they feel just that, you know, they have enough evidence to justify a removal, why not? They have to present that report.
And
especially the effect of recommendation for removal is automatic on the president.
He is only a conveyor belt.
Yeah, in that, yes, in that situation. And so, let's give another example. Let's say somebody is charged with 3 counts of murder. He has murdered 3 different people, and he's charged. And then 1 is proved. And the sentence, well, until we repealed ours in some jurisdictions, where the sentence is mandatory and it's only 1, and 1 is proved, I'm saying that they should proceed and multiply, you know, sentence this person to death 3 times. How many times can a person be executed? Huh?
But the reaction to this.
Yes.
First, let's start with with comments we've heard from leading members of the MPP.
Yes.
And they say that what the president has done,
yes,
based on the recommendation by this 5-member committee, has set a bad precedent. In that, some are even warning that future, should there be a change in government, whoever is the Chief Justice will be removed in a similar fashion. That, for me, is destroying the foundation of our judiciary.
Yes. Now, but you see, that's why I say it is the politics that has harmed this country very gravely. Why should somebody have that mindset? Somebody has been removed. Therefore, when we come with mass, irrespective of the merits.
Yes, they said that the NDC says before coming to power that they were going to reset the judiciary.
Yes.
And so this is politically motivated rather than, you know, a case of.
Let us be a bit serious here. Look, when the parties are contesting for election, don't they have their manifestos as to what they will come and do when elected into power? So when they are elected and they are implementing the manifesto, what's wrong with it? That is premeditated and it's endorsed by the voters and they are implementing it. You mean somebody should just come to power without, you know, any program for running the country? The important question is not when. I remember before the elections, I used to say here that the judiciary needed restructuring. And after the election, I said it. And I don't know whether it was you or some other people came and asked me about a statement John Mahama made to some, they said NDC lawyers.
Yeah.
That when he comes, of course, they will state it politically. Now he's also going to bring NDC. These things don't help us. And I remember I commented that so long as the public had lost interest in the judiciary, he had to do something to rectify it. But he cannot say, I mean, he should have said he will bring those NDC lawyers who are competent and objective-minded, and not just NDC lawyers. I said that. Yes. So you see something wrong, you are not in power, and you are not allowed to say that this is not correct, it has to be rectified. And when you say it and you come and you are pursuing it, then it is nonsense. Nonsense. Yeah.
So the NDC, the MPP's position, or some elements of the MPP, the position they've taken,
yes,
that they will push their leadership to
yes,
do same,
yes,
to any future Chief Justice. You say that it will do what to the judiciary?
Yeah. I mean, this type of thing, is it commendable? That means they will do it irrespective of the performance of the next Chief Justice. That's the mindset of some of these politicians. Don't you see it? Some don't care. It's just the power they want and their way. They must have their way, whether black or red. You appoint some people who are politically aligned to, say, EC or something, there's public outcry, nothing happens. Some people feel that that's how to exercise power and they do it. So I'm not surprised that people can talk like that. But that's the trouble with this country.
Should we have, maybe beyond what Article 146 says,
yes,
should there be legislation to guide the process? Some are suggesting that stated misbehavior is too broad. It doesn't really respond to a specific matter. What is your recommendation in this direction? That the Constitution is not so clear, and at what circumstances somebody can be labeled to have misconducted him or herself?
Now, look, is it today? I mean, don't forget that Charlotte Osei and what's her name? Some other lady,
Georgina Opoku, and then Amadou Sule. We moved from the Electoral Commission.
Yes, and Church commissioner, one lady, I forgot her name.
Madam Lamte.
I mean, it's under the same provisions. Stated misbehavior. And is it not these people who did it? At that time, did they have trouble about what stated misbehavior is? Why suddenly, when their appointee is involved in the same thing, hey, this is, I mean, look, that's why I don't move around, but I watch things.
Some say such comments suggest a payback.
What payback?
Comments like you did the same thing to Salota will suggest that this is just a payback. What is happening to Getchutokonu is a payback.
Let's take time. Payback is something that cannot be justified. That's payback. But if it is justified, where's the payback? Or if it's a payback, it's correct payback. Now, let's not forget history. George Nawood was appointed by MPP. NDC came and retained her. She did 10 years.
Right.
Did they remove her?
No.
So, and even then, they were not even commending that party for doing that.
Even though there are comments from the late Kwabena J when he had issues with the judiciary that there were several ways of killing a cat.
Yes, well, I don't know the grounds they had either politicians. I was just in the judiciary, I don't know with the facts they had, but they didn't let it happen. It didn't happen. They didn't disturb her. And so she was there. Afarijan was there, commendably also. Kufuor didn't touch him until he left. So you can see that you can't say the removal process is just an abuse of power. These facts don't show that it is so. Unless some people, like what some people are saying now, that when we come, we are going to remove, I mean, this kind of mindset. There are people like that. For them, yes, it's not the merits, it is the political deseratum. That, I mean, I don't know.
We're looking at, so now that this has happened, you earlier on spoke about lack of confidence in the judiciary.
Yes.
So if we are opening a new page, what should we do now?
Well, you look, Mama, I think, if I recollect, well, I think he made a statement somewhere that government will reset Ghana or something like that. That's a correct statement to make. That's what Ghana needs.
A reset.
A reset. I said so at my lecture at the Political Science Department, I think September or July 2023, that the next government should audit the placements in the public sector, and those who were not qualified to be appointed to positions or wrongly should rectify those. That's resetting.
And that should even be extended to the judiciary.
Oh, sure. Well, judiciary is a bit. You can go there. You are hoisted over your seniors. Question is, if you are performing and you are not politically inclined, why should they remove you?
Right.
There's still some element of unfairness there, because the seniors, if they were equally qualified, where do you leave them? But, you know, the grounds there are stated misbehavior or inefficiency. So that is something else. Yeah.
And so the dismissed Chief Justice, the communicator came from the president. She was dismissed as Chief Justice.
Yes.
And also, lost her seats on the Supreme Court.
Well, I've seen something of that sort.
More like a double jeopardy for her.
There's no.
Did you expect that?
I think That's what we, the conservatives, will say. That statement was made ex abundanta cautela. That's out of abundance of caution. Once she's removed as Chief Justice, she cannot be a justice of the Supreme Court. It's one and the same person. Look, let me show you the provision.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, it's nice legal thinking for people to think like that, but I'm not convinced that she has a double tenure on the Supreme Court as Chief Justice and then Justice of the Supreme Court. Listen to the composition of the Supreme Court. Yeah, Supreme Court, Article 128. The Supreme Court shall consist of the Chief Justice and not less than 9 other justices of the Supreme Court. So, I mean, what do you understand from this? 9 other justices. It means
all of them.
Yes, she is
as the head of the institution.
Yes.
But basically, all of you are Supreme Court judges.
Yes, that's it. And so, are you saying that the time she was there, if they ask somebody, how many justices are there on the Supreme Court? You say, let's say there were 14. The count will be, oh, the Chief Justice, who is also a justice, so this is 2, and then 3. Doesn't make sense.
So what does it mean? She loses all her entitlements now that she's dismissed. She's worked in the service for over 22 years. Her pension and everything. What happens to it?
Well, that is the consequence, I think, in administration. That's an administrative effect. There's nowhere in the Constitution that there's the consequence or that kind of thing. But that's the effect in administration. If you are dismissed, you are not entitled
to anything.
To anything.
That's 22 years of hard work lost.
Well, now when you make a statement of 22 years of hard work, you have to apply a searchlight to it.
I was coming to it to describe her tenure as you saw it.
Well, I don't know too much. You see, when you are on the Supreme Court, now the type, I don't go around. I was just keeping myself to my chambers, doing my work and coming home. And you had so much work that you couldn't be idle to be roaming about. And we were meeting these other judges only at state functions. You cannot know all of them. There are many. Very many. And so that personal interaction was not there. Where you can know them as a judge is when appeals come from their judgments and you are on the panel. When you can see, oh, this judge, this is how he's performed that. But I never really knew her personally.
But her work,
I only
how would you describe her work?
Her work
and her tenure as Chief Justice.
Well, she was, let's say, when she was in the High Court, I heard she was heading the commercial court. I never went to that court. I only heard she was there. And I didn't sit on any appeals that emanated from her judgments. So I didn't know much. I didn't know anything, you know. And as a Chief Justice, I retired long ago. I'm not in the system. So it's from you, the media, I gain facts as to what is happening now. So you'll find that, well, I don't know. The complaints about the appointments, junior judges, all this came from the media. We saw it. Is it fine? Now, I can tell you, me, if I were ever Chief Justice, and you bring somebody like that from High Court who has not matured in the High Court, has not even gone to, I say, he should go to the Supreme Court. I will tell you that this can't happen. I will not countenance that.
And now you saying no to the political.
Sure,
But
sure.
But a lot of the judges may not have that courage to do so.
Why not? Are they not independent? Then it means.
Are they really independent?
Well, why not? If you are independent, you can be. But if you decide to compromise your independence, that is your fault. You see, look, I've been in it for many years. Some can opt to align themselves with some in the executive and to get some benefits. That's their headache.
That's very dangerous too.
Well, some could do that. You know, you are compromising your destiny.
And such a judge will be a very dangerous judge.
Sure, sure.
And we still have such characters in the judiciary.
Well, from the look of things, if they weren't, I don't say that unanimous judgments don't happen. But when it is more or less, you know, an unbreakable norm, what is the use of having a panel? It is, you see, legal work is very difficult. That's why let's start from High Court. It's one judge there. When it goes on appeal, at least 3 Court of Appeal judges will sit. When it comes to Supreme Court, at least 5. It shows that the work is difficult. Legal principles and assessment, it's not an easy thing. That's why they need such hands. So each member of the panel is supposed to bring his mind to bear on the matter. And I'm not saying that they cannot come to the same conclusion, but it is impossible in human terms, even if you reach the same conclusion, to have the same process of reasoning.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't happen.
We are bringing this conversation to a close. First, let me ask you, so how do we deal with political influence in the judiciary, first of all, and then we'll come to talk about how do we bring back confidence in the judiciary. First, let's talk about the political interference and influence, because appointment to the Supreme Court is done by the political class, even to the appeals court, sometimes even the High Court as well. So they have a hand in every stage. Sometimes they look at who can best help my interest when I need that in the future. So how do we deal with this particular challenge, which appears to, not giving us the best from the courts?
You see, it's very difficult to contain political influence. If you have the nature, and I said it in 2021 at Cape Coast, I was launching a book, and I said the foundation of our politics is not sound. It didn't start on principled grounds. You know, it was a rough game. It's a rough game. Robert Duce's sister was killed in the course of campaign because she was CPP. Look, when Nkrumah took power, few years after that, there were plots to assassinate him, either throwing bombs, guns, whatever. And these things, there came a time, they were plotted in Togo. Buzia used to come and meet the others in Togo. He was, I think, in London, he was meeting them there. They were plotting these things. Throw a grenade or bomb or use a gun. At a certain time, they planted a police officer on duty with clear instructions to assassinate Nkrumah.
Right.
Ametewe. You know that. This is not sound politics. And so when people feel that, there's a common saying, if you are looking for power, you can even sell your mother. And then when you win the power, you redeem her. What if you lose? And why should you do that? It's this kind of mentality. It is like saying, use any means
to get the power.
To get the power. And so if people feel that that's how politics is, I mean, to interfere with judiciary is what?
And how do we restore the
nothing.
confidence? How do we restore the lost confidence in the judiciary?
Well, first of all, as I said, the appointing process shouldn't involve political hands. Even the I've complained about this before in some of my previous interviews. If you look at the the appointment of superior court judges from High Court to Supreme Court is through the Judicial Council. Even the magistrates and so forth, the Chief Justice nominates with it. But then, you know, superior courts, that's the first port of call, and then it goes upwards in the case of Supreme Court to Council of State and then Parliament. And let's look at the composition of the Judicial Council. I've complained about this several times. Let's see. Judicial Council. Council of State, Executive, Legislature, Judiciary. Judicial Council. Article 155. 153. 153. Listen carefully to the composition of this council.
Right.
153. And to go to Supreme Court, you must be recommended by the Judicial Council. And then it goes to Council of State and then to Parliament. So the first point of call, if your recommendation doesn't emanate from the Judicial Council, there's no way you can be appointed.
Yes.
Okay. Now look at the composition. 153. There shall be a Judicial Council which shall comprise the following persons: A, the Chief Justice, who shall be chairman; B, the Attorney General; C, a Justice of the Supreme Court, nominated by the Justice of the Supreme Court; D, a Justice of the Court of Appeal, nominated by the Justice of the Court of Appeal; E, a Justice of the High Court, nominated by the Justice of the High Court; 2 representatives of the Ghana Bar Association; a representative of the chairman or regional tribunals, nominated by the chairman. I wonder whether this is there now. A representative of the lower courts or tribunals. The Judge Advocate General of the Ghana Armed Forces. The head of the Legal Directorate of the Police Service. The editor of the Ghana Law Reports. A representative of the Judicial Service Staff Association, nominated by the association. A chief, nominated by the National House of Chiefs. And 4 other persons who are not lawyers, appointed by the president.
Right.
So, from this, the Chief Justice is appointed, is nominated by the president. And then it goes to Judicial Council, Council of State. Those are also, you know. Now, Parliament. That's an arm of the.
Right.
So you see that the executive influence of the head of
every stage of the way.
Yes. Okay. And she is the head of the judiciary and chairperson of
the council.
The council. Attorney General is appointed straight by the president, exclusively. As for the justices of the other branches, they are under the, in Africa, how can you're someone whose welfare and promotion depend on you to stand up to you like that? a person, let's say a person is representing the High Court, and you think he can oppose and hope to get promotion to the next stage? Then you have 4 representatives of the president. Oh, Lord have mercy. You want the judiciary to be independent. You don't only have the Chief Justice you have appointed, you have the Attorney General you have appointed, 4 other
representatives.
Judge of the Armed Forces, Judge Advocate of the Armed Forces. I mean, what clout has this person? They are, you know, and then the
Judicial Service.
Judicial Service Staff Association. What weight, what clout do they have? If the judges even now, editor of the Ghana Law Reports. Who appoints the editor? Then yeah, I've said 4 other. Right. Then there's one about the head of the legal directorate of the police service. Who appoints?
Every stage is a political appointee. So yes. Clearly, we have a lot more to do.
Yes, if we are serious, we want. So from this, we don't intend that the judiciary should be independent from the composition, from the beginning. There's no intention to make that judiciary independent. You can't constitute this like you are like a kite. You fly it, but you are
holding it.
What?
All right, we'll leave it here for now. It's always, you know, exciting speaking to His Lordship William Atuguba. Your Lordship, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been a special edition of The Pulse. It's always exciting speaking to His Lordship William Atuguba, a retired Supreme Court judge, on the matters relating to the removal of Gertrude Tokonu as Chief Justice and also from the Supreme Court of Ghana. This has been The Pulse. My name is Elton Gobe. Have a good evening.